And so what we came up with, and that, you know, we both agreed on and what works for us, just a couple of them. You know, Josh doesn't carry a lot of money around with him. He always has.
You don't carry any money around?
No, so that means if someone invites me out somewhere, you're paying, basically. So it kind of it works doubly as being good.
I think I'm going to do that. Okay.
What else? Oh yeah, he has an accountability partner that travels with him. You know, just some things that we put in place that we feel, you know, they work. And when we take them seriously and we keep them in place, they do work. You know, towards the end of 2008, we got a little bit careless, you know, and thought, oh, you know, he's been sober for 3.5 years. We can probably...
Now tell me about that, because in last January 2009, something happened, and then the papers picked up on it. Yeah. Today, by the way, there's a great article in the Star-Telegram about you and what God's done in your life, and I thought it was great. But this story that came out in the summer, internet, newspapers, was not good, and it was about what happened in January. What happened?
You know, the first, 16, 17 years of my life, all I wanted to do was play sports. Sports was priority number one, everything in my life. And that got me to being suspended from baseball, separated from my family. Every wrong decision I could possibly make, that's where that got me, that first priority. When I recommitted my life to the Lord, put Him number one, family second, everything kind of after that. Everything was restored to me, like you said. 06 to the end of 08, that was the way it was. God first, family second, everything followed. I had a great 08 season. I wanted to get bigger, faster, stronger for the 09 season. And I wanted to have even better 09 season. I went to Arizona to work out for, a month before the season started. Was out there for 3 weeks. Stopped praying. Stopped doing my devotions. Stopped reading the Word. Stopped fellowshipping with my accountability partner. Doing all those things that had got me to where I was. And I thought I could have one drink. And that thought doesn't work out too well with me. One leads to about 20. Don't remember half the stuff I do. But I do remember when I kind of came out of it, I knew I wanted to call my wife and tell her what happened. I did that. I wanted to call the Rangers and tell them I did that. Major League Baseball, I did that. And immediately when I did those things, it hit my heart that, I know how I got back to where I am right now. And that's because I took God out of first position.
That's a great lesson for all of us, because we all mess up. And as soon as you did mess up, you immediately called your wife, called those in authority, and got right back on the right path. That's absolutely wonderful.
He did. When he called me, unfortunately, relapse was so far from my mind. It took me a little while to process what he was actually saying. And he came home the next day, and I didn't really know for sure what I was going to get when he came back, because years ago when he relapsed, he kind of had the attitude, oh well, I relapsed, oh well, I messed up,
Might as well keep doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
And and I was praying that wasn't going to be the case, but I didn't know for sure. But when he walked in the door,
you told him he gave you peace about it too.
Yeah,
you didn't tell me that.
God gave me peace, tremendous peace, but I didn't tell him that. I mean, I wanted to see what, I kept that piece of information to myself. But when he walked in the door and I saw him and looked at how broken he was and how repentant and remorseful, and how he was so upset at himself, for the sin and, hurting God and sinning against God and me, I was just encouraged. I'm looking at a completely transformed man, and it just it really did make it so easy to extend that grace to him again. I mean, I was so thankful that he was so repentant.
Well, that helps me, because sometimes you hear a testimony of, I got saved or recommitted my life, never made another mistake. And I think, man, I made a lot of mistakes, but you responded correctly when you made a mistake. Well, thank you guys for being here. We're in this series, One Thing. So my question for you is, what is the one thing, Josh, that you cannot live without?
That's not a trick question.
It's not a trick question.
Yeah. Obviously, Jesus. I mean, having Him first in my life. I hope you guys have gotten out of this today that when I don't put Him first, my decisions don't work out too well for me. And, I like to refer to that song, Slow Fade, and, Casting Crowns, because I might not see it at first, but I'm going to get to that point eventually where, I'm going to be back right where I was before I had Christ in my life. And it happens very quickly. So I love Jesus. Jesus is number one, and he's got to be number one for me to do the things I want to do. Do the things I want to do in baseball, with family. All those things comes after having him first.
That's great. Isn't that great? Well, I want to tell you, I don't know if you heard about last week what Vernon Wells did to me. I asked him to sign a baseball.
It was terrible.
Wasn't that terrible?
Yeah, it was.
Well, Josh, I want to tell you, thank you. You signed me a baseball. So
did I put a scripture on that?
Yeah, you did. You put a scripture right there.
I sure did.
Right.
Are you sure?
There's one right there.
You don't mind if I give it away, do you?
Give it away. All right. Okay, you gave my baseball away, but I have Josh's book. We have Josh's book in the bookstore. This is a great book to buy your teenagers because it shares Josh's story. So at least I have your book. It is signed.
You want me to personalize it to you?
Yeah,
You got a pen?
Look, he's giving you a pen right there to sign.
Thanks, bro. Sure.
Can you thank Josh and Katie? You guys just... I want to take just one moment with you and personalize what they said today, because every one of us here need to personalize it. Here's what I think. I think some of you really relate to Katie. You've had someone hurt you. You've had someone say he's not going to do it again, and he's done it again. And yet what God showed her was when she forgave him, it changed her world as well, and it set her free. But you also, some of you relate to Josh in that you're the one. And see, I'm the one that relates to Josh. I said, God, I'm never going to do this again, never going to do it again, never going to do it again, and I do it again. And it is only the power of Jesus Christ that can set you free. But really, I want you to know you're here because God is drawing you. Because God has a good plan for you. See, God has a good plan for Josh and Katie. He has a good plan for your life. But Satan comes in and robs everything from you if you don't give your life fully to Jesus Christ.